Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Audible, sir. Audible.
Hello. May I request everybody to please take your seats and make yourselves comfortable? Namaste. Good morning. A very warm welcome to all of you. My name is Sahana Govindaya, and on behalf of Apollo Hospitals Group and Apollo Hospitals Bangalore, I take this opportunity to extend extremely warm welcome to all of you. Now, for most of the world, the last few months has been long, bleak, and dreary. And hopefully, and I'm seriously hoping that, hopefully and thankfully, we are at the end of the tunnel. And what better way to rejoice that than be present here today for this wonderful, very joyous and momentous occasion when Apollo Hospitals is launching the robotic joint replacement program. It is our pleasure. Apollo has been known to be innovative in technology, in science, in clinic care, and patient care. And this is one such example. For everybody who's been associated with Apollo hospitals, this is not surprising at all that we do these kind of launches and introduce such technology to the world. And it is not possible without the support of our senior management, of the consultants, and of the administration, and without all of you. So thank you so much for being here. Very warm welcome once again. We have an expert, a panel of doctors sitting here who's gonna take you through the program, the advantages vis-a-vis the regular one, and everything else that you want to know about it. Before I call upon the next speaker, there's a certain instruction that I'm supposed to give out to the media. So let me just very briefly finish that. Once the talk and the session is over, there's going to be a live demo and then the question answer session. Initially, the questions will be taken from the media that's present here. And then we will go to the media that's connected to us. And when you please ask your question, we would request you to introduce yourself, the publication that you're from, and also let us know to which doctor or the team that you're directing your question to. And all this while, may I please request all your phones to be on mute. And once we've taken the questions from the media present here, then we will go to the virtual team that's going to be waiting. And I request all of you to have a little patience for the virtual media. We will take your questions, but the request again is that you type in your question with your name, with the name of the publication, the question, and to whom it's addressed, and we will be reading out the questions here one-on-one. Everybody will be given an opportunity to ask questions. So I will read these instructions out later on as well. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome the Karnataka Region Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Davison, to welcome the dignitaries, the media, and give the overview of the program. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sahana. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I would like to welcome all our friends from the media for this meet. And also, I take this opportunity to thank all of you for joining us, either through your personal presence or through virtual medium. I have immense pleasure to welcome our beloved chairman, Dr. Pratap Sridhi, chairman of Apollo Group, who is the father of modern corporate healthcare for our country. He has brought in the world-class medicine to our country. His passion for technology has made him bring all medical technology, name any medical technology, he has brought to our country. Now he is on a new mission of preventing the preventable death through declaring a war on NCDs, that is non-communicable diseases. He is our biggest inspiration and guide. Thank you, sir, for joining us virtually. And also, I take this opportunity to thank sir for giving us the Navio third generation robotic system in the group the first time in Bangalore. I welcome Ms. Sangeeta Reddy, Joint Managing Director, Apollo Group. She has been one of the main pillars of designing one of the finest healthcare systems for our country. She is the president of FICCI, and she has a passion for application of technology, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and robotics in medical field. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. I also welcome Dr. Sanjay Pai, our senior orthopedic and joint replacement surgeon, now the robotic surgeon, and his expert team, who is also gathered here, and they are spread across all our hospitals. I also take this opportunity to thank our media coordinators and then my colleagues and Smitha Navio personnel who are all here preparing this stage for a live demo. Today, we are presenting to all of you what happens when the latest technology in joint replacement, that is a specially designed robotic system, specially designed for joint replacement, in the hands of an experienced and expert surgeon, what changes it can bring about. Joint replacement till recently was a subject of more of a surgeon's expertise and experience. Very little of technology was involved. Therefore, there used to be a slight difference in the outcome of every patient because of the small variations of a few millimeters in the hands of a most experienced surgeon also. But today, here with the robotic technology powered by precision software, similar to something which is used in the brain surgeries or in the brain lab, it's a powerful tool in the hands of a surgeon, bringing about precision and perfection and predictability. This has two major advantages. I categorize them into two groups. Will have an advantage of using this robotic joint replacement program. One is for the surgeon. Certainly, it is a powerful technology and tool in the hands of a surgeon to make sure that every one of surgery, what he does is predictable and is perfect. And for a patient, certainly it has got, ultimately the patient gains out of it because his outcome is predictable and is more sure, and he goes into a surgical procedures with more confidence. And thus, it has certain other advantages which lead to us reduced surgical time and smaller incision and also faster recovery, and therefore it can be made a daycare surgery and post-operative care can be managed from home. During the time of COVID pandemic, these advantages make a lot of difference, especially for the elderly who needs a joint replacement. And therefore, we have dedicated our Jainagar Hospital as a surgical bubble center, which is totally free of COVID. And therefore, anybody who requires this kind of surgeries can come into our hospital, undergo surgery with a complete protection from COVID, and they can get back to home at the earliest. I have the great pleasure to introduce now our renowned Dr. Sanjay Pai, renowned surgeon. With more than 35 years of experience, he has done more than 15,000 joint replacement. He has pioneered in the unique compartmental replacement and bilateral simultaneous joint replacement in South India. He has I think he heads one of the largest joint replacement center in South India, perhaps in the world. He has a brilliant team. He has built a brilliant team who are providing their excellent service in all the 3 hospitals of Bangalore city. His passion is fix the bonds to make people walk. Now, with the latest robotic system in his hands, he is going to do this wonder job. I request Dr. Sanjay Pai to take us through this program.
Thank you, Mr. Davison, for those kind words. Welcome to the media, both virtual and who are present with us. And let me start the program because we have constraint of time also being virtual. So in this period of COVID, there was extreme fear of coming out of the house because the Prime Minister said stay at home above 65. And this fear has perpetuated through our society where people are finding very much scared to get out of the house and come to the hospital. That is the reality. COVID is going to be here, and by the time 1.3 billion people are vaccinated, many times the vaccine to be given twice with a gap of 1 month, it's going to be the next 18 to 24 months COVID is going to be here. So let's not think that, oh, vaccine has come and it's going to go away. The reality is COVID is here, and COVID is going to be here for the next 18 to 24 months. So what did COVID bring with it? COVID brought with it the fear of going to hospital. People above 60, the people who require surgery for their knee pain or hip pain, scared to go. And plus, the surgery is something which could wait for safer times. But we are already 9 months into the pandemic. Think of across our country, 3 to 4,000 people, 5,000 people undergoing surgery every month who haven't had surgery. Just imagine the backlog which is there over the 9 months and looking ahead. Added to that was staying in hospital. Not only were you scared reaching the hospital, you were scared staying in hospital because you could get cross-contamination from the next patient, the attender of the next patient, and so goes the story. So these were the issues which confronted us at the Apollo Hospital, and our program was to eliminate or minimize these fears. So what did we do? We designed a program which we leveraged the strength of the Apollo Hospital group. The 3 sectors of our group which got into this act, the Apollo Hospitals itself, the Apollo Diagnostic Chain, and Apollo Home Care, got together and have made this program which I'm going to talk to you today about. So the first thing is the concept of a surgical bubble. Now, people are most worried, hey, my God, the next what are people most worried about? People next patient may have a bubble. They would have been tested earlier. The tests, either RT-PCR, chest X-ray, rapid antigen, or gene expert test done. Make sure to the 90th percentile that the patient doesn't have COVID and then enters the bubble. So this is a concept which is new for our country. This is a concept we are introducing. Apollo is introducing for the first time in our country. It will start with the Jayanagar hospital and we'll be rolling it across the other hospitals, taking it, seeing the response and whether we have to change our program in any which way. So there will be no COVID at the hospital. There won't be any people with pneumonia. There won't be any people with respiratory illnesses. There won't be any person with diarrhea or any infective focus. It is going to be largely, at Jayanagar at least, only surgical. At the other centers, largely surgical. And there will be stringent protocols. Like I said, CT chest, RT-PCR, gene expert. Do as many tests as you can. Show to the patient and the family that we can do all this to make your stay safe. The staff and the doctors are also going to be monitored for their health regularly so that we can keep this surgical bubble. See, this bubble has become a very important word. It started with the travel bubbles, and now the Indian cricket team is also in a bubble in Australia. So with this concept, Apollo decided that why don't we take this concept and utilize it in a surgical scenario and make this bubble a safe place to do surgery. What are the parts of our program? There are four basic pillars on which this program is based. The first is do the investigation of the patient at home. So you don't have to come to the hospital to get your investigations. You don't have to spend a day before in hospital for your investigations. What do? Apollo Diagnostics or Apollo Hospital will send somebody to your house, finish all the blood tests. Via telecon, you can get a physician and a cardiologist to check your health. So see that you are primed and in good health, and you don't have to waste a day or a day and a half in hospital before surgery. The second part of our program is it is robot assisted. So the robot will see to it that we damage as little less tissue as possible, see that we get it more perfectly. I'm actually quite excited after 30 years of doing joint replacement. The onset of the robot is my interest is for the partial knee. Now the partial knee recoveries are much quicker, the knee remains more normal, the surgery is considerably diminished and the recoveries are faster. But without the robot, this was a surgery which was hit and miss and it fell into disrepute. Because though it was there for the last 30 years, we used it less and less because we were not so sure did we get it spot on. With the robot with us, we are able to do this surgery perfectly, and many people who are getting a total knee done needn't go and get a total knee done, get a partial knee. It gives a far better near normal feeling to your knee than a total knee. Especially the elderly, many times just a single compartment is worn off. The surgery is reduced in time, length, in every which way, and with the robot, we are able to make it perfect. The third pillar of our surgery is cut the stay short. So you don't have to stay 6 days, 7 days, 3 days, 2 days, depending when you can manage yourself at home. This technology is also well established with us in the Apollo system, and we're able to send the patients home as soon as is possible. The rest of the services which you are staying in hospital for, nursing, for physiotherapy, all will be done at home with the help of the Apollo home care delivery system. So with these four pillars is the launch of our program. It's not just a robot. Yeah, many people would have got just a robot, but can they give you a broad-based 360-degree program to look after my elderly person all across and see that we don't mistake the patient, we don't put his life at risk in any which way? That Apollo has been able to leverage its breadth and depth, being India's largest healthcare organization, and deliver this to the patient. So the robot we have, which we will show you, is sourced from the US. It's well established. It is FDA approved. We haven't cut corners and bought something cheap, maybe made in China or Korea. No, we bought the best one which was available in the market. It's already got many establishments across the world and even in our country, 20 plus already across India. And we waited for it, the technology to mature a bit. I didn't want to rush in and take something which was still evolving. This is, as you see, a third generation robot. It's in its third avatar. So it's very stable and very surgeon friendly. So, as I said earlier, I think the robotic knee, the large part will be a partial knee replacement. Yes, it can do a total, and within the next 6-8 months, we could use it for the hip replacement also. But presently, I think the exciting thing is we can do a wonderful partial knee for the patient. Less surgery means less pain means you're back to normal much earlier. So, what I would like through you to pass on to our population is this is a very underutilized technology in India, especially so in southern India due to the lack of the robot. But once the robot has come, the partial knee is the way ahead. The, with the smaller surgery, our stay will be short, and Apollo Home Care, with its very broad service capacity in Karnataka, will be able to give you the same care which is in hospital at home. So once this is done, the stay in hospital is minimized, your surgery is minimized with robotics, you'll be at home earlier, you'll be much safer, and you don't have to wait the 18 to 24 months for COVID to get away for us to get back to surgery. With this, I'd like to end here. I'd like to get Dr. Manish, my colleague. He's going to talk to you about the benefits of robotic surgery vis-a-vis an open surgery, which we used to do all these years. Thank you.
Dr. Manish Sampson is a senior consultant orthopedic surgeon whose practice is primarily based out of Apollo Hospitals, Bannerghatta Road. He will be completing the second half of the program in terms of advantages of the robotic joint replacement program.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a great honor to be here and on this massive launch of this robot, which is available with the Apollo group of hospitals here. And we are really proud, right from the flagship hospital that is in Bannerghatta Hospital and Jayanagar and Sheshadripuram. We will be soon able to use this technology to give the best outcome and see our joint replacement patients do much better in life. So this is, as Dr. Pai mentioned, this is a very useful tool when we come across to do total knee replacements or joint replacement and the partial knee, joint replacements. As we all know, that all joint replacement patients are quite happy with the quality of life they have after surgery. Patients have been demanding with the results that go out from our centers, and they would like not only to get eliminated with their pain that they were suffering with, but try to go back to their normal lifestyle of function, squatting, sitting cross-legged, climbing stairs, and painless activities, what they were having before they had arthritis. We all know knee replacements or joint replacements are highly successful surgeries. Reproducing the results and improving the patient's outcome satisfaction has been a big challenge for all joint replacement surgeons today. So as a number of surgeries go out from our center, and it has been a big challenge for everybody in the field of joint replacement to duplicate the results and try to give them as normal lifestyle as what they were before they had arthritis. Another thing what we like to look into is the readmissions. So many a times we hear about surgeries which have failed elsewhere due to various reasons, and the patient has to readmit in the same year to get a revision sort of surgery, maybe infection or loosening of the components. So this readmission is again a small concern which most of the hospitals have. Luckily for Apollo, we have a very low readmission rate, but still whatever that percentage of small readmission rates, we would like to nullify it to zero. Okay, next. Right. So there has been a need to improve in the healthcare in the field, specifically when we talk about joint replacement surgeon and patient satisfaction. So when we look into the study where we take into accounts the amount of patients who have undergone joint replacement surgery, we as surgeons who do joint replacement have noticed that there is about 25% of patients who are not very happy with this outcome of the surgeries. And that has been always troubling the surgeons as to how we can reduce this 25%. And a lot of research has been done on what are the factors that cause these unhappy 25% patients in post-surgery. So the various reasons, what we come to know is that there are stability issues after these surgeries. The patient doesn't have the proper proprioception. Now, what is proprioception? When we walk, when we move, our joint moves and the signals are sent to our brain, where it tells us whether our knee is bent or straightened or it is unstable. But when we have an artificial joint, these signals are missing out. And it takes a time for the patient to adapt with the other signals from the other joints to make him realize that this is the knee is the bent or knee is straightened and all sort of thing. So this is possible only if you have a very stable knee post-surgery after the joint replacement surgeries. So what are the key factors for implants or the joint replacement to survive longer? So we have found out that there are factors like bone cuts. So how much bone you resect or cut during the surgery, which is going to be replaced by an implant. So it is based on the surgeon's assessment and judgment as to what deformity the patient has and the surgeon how much bone he wants to resect, keeping in mind that he's not going to create a lengthening or a shortening of the limb or the joint. Second one is the crucial part is balancing the joint. So as we know, there are structures like ligaments, which are like rubber bands, which balance the joint in different modes of action during bending activities and straightening. Now, if there is a well-balanced knee, the knee is going to last and give him a more natural feeling to the patient. Then the third one is how well you place the components. The components have to be placed precisely. So when you place it precisely, it just behaves like your natural knee. And how well you fix it. The fixation of the component to the bone with a different, with the modality of cement, bone cement, which is a medical cement, it needs to be safe, secure, and long-lasting. So knee replacement has evolved over the years, and we started with a conventional knee replacement, partial or total knee replacement, which is still popular, and many people are still doing it, and it's the gold standard so far. But it depends vastly on how experienced the surgeon is, how many cases he has done with complicated deformities, and how well he can assess that. So it's all evolving around the surgeon's experience to get a good outcome. Then after the conventional knee replacement, few years back, you might have heard of what we call as a computer-navigated surgeries. The computers came in to help so that we could have more precise bone resection, bone cuts, more precise placement of the component, and to which we were quite happy to some extent, but still that 25% might have reduced to about 18%, but we were still with unhappy clientage of patients because it was still not solving all our major concerns. So what we have now today launched in Apollo is a robotic assisted surgeries. Now, why basically you need this surgeries? I just want to give you a picture of the conventional versus robotic surgeries. Conventional is the good old method where the surgeon assesses the bone, how much to be cut before the surgery. He calculates his experience and all come into play, and then he resects the bone, and it's on his experience mainly what the bone resection happens. So there is a possibility that if a surgeon who is less experienced may end up cutting more bone than required. Whereas in robotic, because you have already a planning for the patient, you have done a computerized planning for the patient's knee. Sorry. Battery is not. It's not moving. Which side I can? Okay. In robotic, we have more optimal cuts because already the planning has been done and it gives you a precise resection of bone. So you end up not cutting less bone or more bone. The results are inconsistent because as the surgeon gains in experience in the conventional method, you are going to expertise in that field. Whereas when you use a robotic, you can practically plan your surgery and resect how much you want. So you can predict the outcome. The ligament balancing remains uncontrolled. It's all again on the surgeon's experience as to how much soft tissue you're going to release, how much ligaments are you going to loosen to get the perfect balance. Whereas with the robotic, you can control the ligament release. You don't over-release or don't under-release with the help of the robot. Third most important thing, or fourth most important thing is to kinematics. Kinematics is how the knee is balanced throughout the range of movement. So we don't want the knee to be stable only when it is straight, only when it is bent, but we want to have the knee balanced throughout its cyclic range of movements. So that is very difficult to balance it out in a conventional method, whereas with the robotics, you can really run through the range of movements during the surgery and see that it's balanced all throughout the range of movements. So the question comes is, why do we need this robotics in orthopedics or in joint replacement? Accuracy. It is a tool what we have got today to have an accurate planning and cutting of the bone. Now, what is it? How you define accuracy is how close are you to the true value of the placement of the object. It's like hitting the bullseye. So when you hit a bullseye, you are accurate in your aim. Second most important thing is precision. Now, what is the precision different from accuracy is that it's related to reproducibility. We should be able to reproduce the same result, degree of closeness to where we want the bone to be cut and where we want the implant to be placed. So accuracy, if it can be hitting the bullseye, precision is how many times can you hit the bullseye. So that is a big bonus what we have got with this robotic, is that we can hit n number of times the bullseye with the precision with this tool. So to do this surgery, the modern orthopedic surgeons have to become cyber surgeons. So we do a surgical planning with the actual data from once the patient's knee is opened. We take the bone, we take the markings, and we have an actual real-time data available from the patient, which is stored on the computer. The surgeon can plan the bone resections, the slope, the ligament balancing, and the size of the component also on the computer before the actual surgery has started. He can plan the placement and determine it to be the ideal position with the help of the robot. This is a big tool, useful implications of this tool what we have. Now, another big thing what this third generation robot is, it has an arm which controls the surgeon during the surgery, okay? So that the surgeon doesn't overshoot from the normal or the safe zone during the surgery. So since it's a small handheld device, it's very convenient for the surgeon to hold it in his hand, and the robot will do the job, but it won't allow the surgeon to overshoot when he is operating with that. So it helps in achieving the placement precisely and also the balancing of the knee. So this is just a picture of the robot that we are going to show you after this talk, and a small demo will be there where it's helpful in planning, balancing, and resecting of the bone more precisely. So as I mentioned, this is the freedom of having the robot right in your hand is that with what this system can give us. It gives us real-time imaging. So like the previous robots which were available, we had to do a CT scan of the patient's knee, which will feed the data into the computers and robots, and then you do the planning. And as we know, the CT scans are also of radiation. So it has been seen that it is, first of all, it is an expensive thing to get a CT scan and then do this. It eliminates a lot of time. If we use the CT, if you use a CT, you take a lot of time for that. And also the concern of radiation during the CT. It has been seen that one CT scan can almost give you almost 48 chest x-rays radiation that is there. And invariably, when you do a planning for CT scan based robotic surgeries, you end up at least minimum 1 or 2 CT scans to be done, which is a huge amount of radiation to the patient during the preoperative planning. So all these factors is eliminated when you use our system, which is a real-time recording of the patient's data. So as I mentioned, this is the robot, and it has a small burr at the tip, which is about 4 to 6 millimeters diameter. So it can be, the surgeries can be done through a smaller incision, more precise, and it is a less bulky device like other conventional robots that were available in the market. As I said, this is the handheld tool which will control, and it has at the tip the burr which will resect the bone as per our requirements. It's not moving. Okay. Next slide. So as I say that this is only the handheld robot, it improves the safety and prevents injury to other soft tissues which are around. So since it doesn't allow the surgeon to go out of the safe zone of surgery, your other soft tissues can be prevented. Smaller incision, less pain for the patient post-surgery, quicker recovery, and a shorter stay. This, as I said, is a surgeon-controlled surgery. So it's not that the robot is dominating over the surgeon, but the surgeon has the final say in this. The surgeon-controlled surgery, but not the surgeon-dependent one. It is a clinically proven and a validated system that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Manish. We will now have the unveiling of the robotic joint replacement program, for which may I request our beloved and respected chairman, Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Pratap C. Reddy, our joint managing director, Dr. Sangeeta Reddy, to please join us virtually. May I request Mr. Davison, Chief Executive Officer, Karnataka region, to please go on to the dais. Dr. Sanjay Pai, Dr. Manish Sampson, Dr. Vasudev Prabhu, Dr. Govindaya Yatish, Unit Head of Apollo Specialty Hospitals, Jayanagar, and Mr. Uday Davda, Unit Head of Apollo Sheshadripuram, and all the orthopedic surgeons, Dr. Ravi Raj, Dr. Shiva Reddy, Dr. Kiran Chaka, please join us on the stage. Thank you. Thank you so much. It is my pleasure now to welcome our Joint Managing Director, Dr. Sangeeta Reddy. Dr. Sangeeta Reddy, along with holding the position of the Joint Managing Director for Apollo Hospitals Enterprises, is also the President of Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industries. For almost 2 decades, ma'am, as an Executive Director of Operations, has led human resources portfolio, and her efforts has been central to the values of the Apollo culture. She has successfully spearheaded many of the sectoral and industrial initiatives under the aegis of FICCI. She is also a member of several organizations. Dr. Sangeeta Reddy has been nominated by the Government of India to be a member of Technology Development Board, Department of Science and Technology, and rightfully so, because innovation and technology has been very close to her heart. She has been a constant source of support for this great addition in technology at Apollo Hospitals Group. Dear ma'am, welcome, and we request you to join us for the address. Thank you.
Namaste, and a very, very good afternoon to every single one of you. I'm extremely happy to be amongst you today at this tremendous launch of the robot-assisted knee replacement program. The robot and the technology are one part of this integrated program. The integrated program is hinged on, number one, our commitment to our patients. Number two, the fact that our doctors are unparalleled, and Dr. Sanjay Pai over the years has built one of the most credible and largest knee treatment, not just knee replacement, complete replacement, partial replacement, and knee treatment program or joint treatment program and orthopedic program in the country. So it is the commitment to patient, it's the capability of the clinicians, and it's the use of high-end technology. So I'm extremely happy to be at the unveiling of the robot. I was, not just impressed by the presentation made, and I think all our clinicians have very well outlined. I think Dr. Manish gave the details. So I think what begins as an innovation and a novel methodology anywhere in the world is something that Apollo does its best to bring to India, to our patients at an affordable cost. The next aspect is that as we continue to train people to use it, as we train and deliver the best results using this technology then becomes a mainstay methodology of treatment. So when we brought the first CT scan into the country in 1983, it was among the first machines in the country. And people said, why would you spend so much on technology? Today, can you imagine a world without a CT scan? Actually, in some of the presentations now, they have what Dr. Sampson was saying, that you can do a lot of the knee replacement without the CT because you're doing an even more precise assessment of the patient immediately on the table using the very unique robotic arm or the assistance of that tool, which they will show you a detailed demo. This feedback between the surgeon, the handheld device, the AI enablement, and the imaging, this combination of putting almost 5-6 technologies together to bring a better result for the patient and to guide the doctor is truly transformational. It's among the first which is happening anywhere in the world. It will, and I strongly predict, this will become a mainstay treatment, and Apollo is proud and privileged to bring it first to our patients, and also, very rightly so, to a surgical team across the spectrum, across Bangalore, in Bannerghatta, as well as in Sheshadripuram. We have some of the best doctors in orthopedics, and I'm very happy that we will be able to deliver this high-end technology to enable them for even better treatment. I request the media to especially highlight also the fact what Dr. Sanjay Pai was saying, that even for partial replacement, this is a tremendous tool. And I urge patients not to bear the pain and wait for the knee joint to deteriorate to such a position that you need a total replacement. Please come early, get it tested, do the partial, and get back to your normal activities, so that we can, give you the best possible outcomes. So I want to congratulate the team. I urge Dr. Davison, your entire management team, to focus on the other very good concept that you unveiled today, which is the surgical bubble. This is an important thing. We have still a few more months where COVID is amongst us, but our patients should not suffer. This has been our commitment all through the COVID period, to find a way to deliver the best care in all specialties, creating an iron curtain between the COVID and the non-COVID. And I'm happy that you have now declared that in some of your hospitals, there will be no COVID patients. They will be tested in a separate area. If they need COVID care, they'll move to the COVID specialized facility. And therefore, you're able to give this extremely safe surgical environment. We look forward to there more and more progress and advancement in the methodology. We also commit to become a significant training center for others to adopt this technology, because as always, Apollo has not only brought the best, but also trained other doctors so that we can proliferate this best across the Indian ecosystem. So my congratulations, my best regards, and on behalf of Apollo, our continuous commitment to the advanced surgery and to bring the best of care to our patients. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. It is now my pleasure you have it ready, to play a message from our beloved chairman, Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Pratap C. Reddy.
Dr. Sanjay Pai is one of the most reputed knee transplant surgeons in the country. We are very happy that he is working in Apollo hospitals in Bangalore mostly, and wherever necessary, sometimes he travels to other cities to help the colleagues or to do some special cases. I congratulate him for the great work that he is doing, having done over 15,000 knee transplants, which is a remarkable thing. And what is in medicine, it's not the numbers which counts, it is outcomes. His outcome, the patient's satisfaction of the surgery and the post-operative recoveries, all of this matter. This is where Dr. Sanjay Pai has done exemplary work. Today, he has taken the next major step to using the robotic surgeries for knee transplants. In US, it's become very popular. Navio Robotic system for the knee surgeries. Over 500 hospitals in US are now using this. The advantage of this is that it's a smaller incision, better view for the patient so that no injury happens at all. And then the movement of the legs and all are perfect post-surgery and the recovery. So I think it's another major advance. Knee transplant surgery will happen with using the robotics, which we are using in other surgeries. I think Apollo has the largest number of robotic surgical program. Separate robot for the spine. Now Dr. Sanjay Pai has now brought in this special robot for the knee, which is handheld. So which is a very unique one. So I congratulate him, and I am sure this will further his services to people in doing the knee transplants. Apart from what he has done, we have made that during this COVID time, the hospitals where he operates are absolutely COVID-free. I think that is very, very essential. People have this little fear in them, but I want to assure them Apollo has put an iron curtain between COVID and non-COVID areas in all our hospitals throughout the country. So patients fearlessly can come in and have major surgeries. We have done transplants, heart transplant, liver transplant, lung transplant, all of these because of the care that we've taken in putting an iron curtain and safety of patients without COVID. God bless him for the robot that he has brought in to further the patient's satisfaction so that he will get better knee replacement, more mobility, and he will be able to go home earlier. That is the most important. Probably in one day, post-operatively can be at home in one day. That will be a wonderful thing. God bless. I congratulate him for this major step in bringing robotic in his knee transplant program, already being a leader in knee transplants in the country. You know, India has a potential now. Almost all of these, our clinical outcomes are equal or better than the outcomes anywhere in the world, including US. In heart, we have taken the world, become #1 in the world. In organ transplants, we have become #1 in the world. Now we are trying in cancer to reach that place because we have the pencil beam proton, one of the finest centers in the world in Chennai. And in almost all disciplines, we are now bringing this artificial intelligence, automation, and robotics to become world #1 so that people in the world would know that in India, the surgeries are done with great clinical excellence with a tremendous cost benefit, and more importantly, what they'll get is care and compassion, which you can't buy with a douche dollar. God bless you all. I think India will become next global healthcare destination because of the great outcomes and the clinical services that Indian doctors, Indian hospitals are giving.
Thank you so much. May I remind all of you that Chairman wanted to be here with us because this was very exciting for him and he wanted to be a part of this occasion. But unfortunately, because of the cyclone also now he couldn't, and in spite of all that, I think the unbridled passion comes across. So thank you so much. I think his blessings are very needed. Gentlemen, may I please remind you of social distancing, please. We would like you to maintain some distance between you. Right, so now the time has come now, I think, to see what this is all about. Very exciting. We have Dr. Shiva Reddy, a consultant orthopedic surgeon, an inherent part of this robotic joint replacement program, who is going to be giving us a demo of the procedure that all of you have been hearing about. The narrative will be given by Dr. Sanjay Pai and the other surgeons. If you have a question, ladies and gentlemen, during the demo, please raise your hands, introduce yourself, and ask the question. Thank you so much. Over to you, Dr. Shiva Reddy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, so we have heard a lot about robotic and the program. So I will show how exactly it works. So we have a model here. It simulates the actual knee joint. So this is the hip center. This is the knee joint. This is the ankle. And we have a robotic machine there, which has a camera. And here are the arrays. These are sensitive arrays which reflected to the camera. So it gives a feedback to the computer, whatever we do here. So that creates a 3D model in the system. So that helps us to do a proper, precise bone cuts and get the knee joint accurately. So I will just start this. I am registering the points.
What he is doing is giving information to the computer of where in real time are these parts of the body.
So I'm getting the center of the ankle by registering the two malleoli and the center of the knee. These are the registering points. So now we'll have to give a hip center. This is in full extension. Dismiss. Do it there. This is taking the range of movements from neutral to a full flexion possible. Now we have to create 3D model of the thigh bone, that's a femur bone. So now I'll start marking the surface area of this joint, and it convert into a 3D model in this computer.
So you can see there, as he points out, it is understanding where it is, and it is creating a 3D model. So in real time, it's not that you have to do a CT scan or anything, it is creating the model there. So it exactly maps out how this bone looks there.
Yeah, so it's created the femur model, and now tibia.
So you can see how it decides for itself where we are. With all these arrays, it gives us a real-time picture.
The more information you give to the system, it's better accuracy we get it. Yeah, so this is more important in the whole surgery. We plan the surgery in the system, then we perform here on the knee. So we can adjust the size, we can adjust the, it gives the femoral size, it gives the tibia size, what is the plastic thickness we have to put. We can move it, the inner and outwards, up and down. So it helps us to position the implant where exactly it is required to be in a precise location. So the sizing, everything is here. This is more important. What Dr. Manish was talking about here. The difference between the previous surgeries, conventional surgeries, and this robotic system is that we get throughout the range of motion the balance. That is more important. That's where the satisfaction out of this procedure is required. So it shows where it is lax, where it is tight with the previous actual knee. So we have to get that perfectly. So that's where we can plan it on the system.
See, what it is showing, doctor, is after surgery, how will it look? This computer tells us, so that we can reassess ourselves. Without having done the surgery, it has decided that if you this way, this will be the. Now, once he is happy with that, then only he starts surgery. For normal surgery, what happens? We can reach this stage only at the end of surgery, and there's no going back then. Here, in this, it is a virtual reality has been created. We know how this knee will look at the end of surgery. Knowing how this knee will look at the end of surgery, we start the journey. So we start the journey knowing where we are going to reach. It's not that we reach the end and say, my God, did we reach here? What shall we do? No, there are no surprises, no shocks. He knows exactly how this knee will look at the end of it. If he is happy, then only he starts.
Yeah. femur tissue.
Albur.
It's keep asking the checkpoint whether anywhere the system is moved. This is the handheld most important tool here. It has a burr and it comes out only when I go into the field where it's supposed to cut. So it will not damage any soft tissues around. See this is how, see if it is not come out here of the sleeve. I go near, it comes out of the sleeve. So it will not damage if I go out also, it will not come out. So that's where it protects the surrounding tissues. And you can see the color change in the monitor there. It becomes white. That is where we have reached the cutting surface.
Plant level, the plant level, it becomes white.
Yeah, that's how it looks after cutting.
Wanted to take your flight. I mean, for the mainly business. This, I mean, they want to and like shorten this.
It's over.
Here, we and other team members will come on the top.
We make a lug holes here. We can finish this surgery with complete burring of the whole bone, because we have to burr some more of the bone to get the implant sitting on this bone.
Okay, I think this is a brief overview. We are a little tight with time here. So this is how the robot works. This is the important part which gives us the result. This is the brain of the robot, and it is very surgeon friendly. So you can fit it to your style of surgery. If there are any questions, I'd be glad to take any questions.
I think the press would like to have a bite from Dr. Sanjay and Dr. Shiva Reddy. Dr. Yatish, can you also please join? After which, any question answers, please, like I said earlier, please raise your hand, introduce yourself, introduce the publication and ask the question, and please direct the question to the surgeon that you want to ask, please. Thank you so much.
Excuse me, sir. Due to the COVID only, you are implementing this unit before you had an idea to implement this?
Which one? Okay.
Yes, I'm Jayant from Vijay, Karnataka. Due to the COVID only, you are going to implement this project, or before you had an idea?
The robot we have had for the last 8 months. What we didn't have was a program which we could deliver all aspects of it. See, COVID has made people scared to come. So our idea was to provide this whole thing. So robot is a part of our program. It has the surgical bubble, which makes it real safe. We are not having any non-operative patients in the bubble. We have got a short stay. We have got Apollo home care to look after you at home. We've got Apollo Diagnostics to go home and get your blood tests, everything done. So this is a whole program. It's not just the robot is an inherent and central part of our program, but it is not the program. The program is everything: bubble, diagnostic, robot, short stay, and home care. And with that, see, we can't look at a patient in two dimensions only. If I require to give 360-degree care in COVID times, and they are difficult times for the elderly, then I must have them completely cocooned and safe from home to home basis.
This surgery is only available in Jayanagar unit or other?
Presently, it is available in Jayanagar. The surgical bubble also is presently available in Jayanagar. Just like a third generation robot, we will try it out in Jayanagar, and then we will roll it across to our other two centers in the city and across the country. So the surgical bubble initially is at Jayanagar.
It is in first time in India or?
Pardon me?
Yeah, this robotic surgery is in first time in India?
No,
this
no,
unit?
no. Robotic surgery is there. There are more than 24 other centers already with robotics. We waited till the maturity of the technology. See, there's no point rushing in and taking a technology which is useless after 1 year. So we waited for the technology to mature. We don't want to have the first movers disadvantage of not knowing where the technology is. I'd rather be a last mover's advantage, knowing where the 23 centers have gone, see what they did wrong and do it right when we launch our center.
Sir, what is the success rate, sir, of this robotic technology surgery?
No, the success in joint replacement per se is in high 90s. This will ensure us that it becomes even more perfect. See, joint replacement surgery was very much an experience leverage surgery. The more experienced guy gave you a better result. But here with the robot, even the people who are starting their careers at our hospital will give you an equivalent result to the most senior surgeon's result.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So one of the members wanted me to ask you, what has been your experience for somebody who's been doing conventional knee surgeries to this? What your experience has been like?
See, I've been doing joint replacement for 30 years. And when robot came, I was little skeptical whether I should take it up or not. But once I made up my mind that we should get, and the hospital management and the directors, chairman all agreed that he would get us the robot. It is a wonderful tool to have, and I think this is the way ahead, mainly so that we can do more of partial knee replacements. See, we were doing total knee for patients who could get away with partial because we didn't have the technology. Now that we have the technology, we can offer the patient what he really deserves. Not that I can't give you what you really deserve, but hey, I'll give you a total. That question has gone out. We can give large number of our patients the partial knee, and that is what many patients truly deserve.
If there's no questions from anybody here, can we take some virtual questions? Is anybody opened? Has anybody asked questions? Meanwhile, may I request Mr. Davison, sir, Dr. Yatish and Dr. Sanjay Pai to, I think they want a bite near the robotics, and then we'll have a group picture later on, yeah? Okay, so if there are no questions, I think we'll conclude the Q&A session, and whatever bite that I think all of you want, you can get that now. We'll also have a group picture later on. So while that's going on, again, it gives me great pleasure, to have had all of you for this wonderful occasion. And thank you all so much. I understand it's been rather difficult times, but I do thank our esteemed colleagues and our esteemed friends from the media to have been part of this wonderful occasion for us. Thank you all so much. Hope you have a safe Christmas and New Year's, and please do join us for lunch. Thank you. To all the friends who've joined us virtually, thank you so much for being part of this. Okay, I've been asked to wait for 2 minutes because I think there's some people who are interested to ask some questions, so I will wait. But thank you so much on behalf of Apollo Hospitals Group and Bangalore for your time. Just read that out. Hi, we have a question here from Rajini Madhavan.